Hi everyone, I hope everyone's doing really well. This week I have mainly been having like a really good spring sort out, a big organising my paperwork and just going through the drawers and getting everything all neat really. And so when I was doing that I came across this, which is something that I obviously wrote when I was still with my ex-partner, and I'd obviously been experiencing one of the rages. There was a row obviously going on, and I do remember I used to write down a lot as the kind of like emotion built up inside me, and there was no way of communicating it because the logic had just left the building when it comes to communicating like adults really. Everything was twisted and blamed, and so anyway I'm going to read it to you because I've only read it like through it once, and I just thought, gosh, that is such a insight into my mindset at the time, and I wanted to share it because I think there will be people that some of it resonates with, and yeah, my sharing your story is your superpower and it unlocks deep healing. So here I am sharing this with you. Hopefully it will help somebody. So it says, there is not one qualified person on this planet who would hold me responsible for this mess. Yet I believe a man who does think it is all my fault. I act like I must believe him. If I didn't believe him, I would have left already, surely. I've read a lot, I've seen a lot, I've asked a lot, and yet I just don't get it. It can't be my fault. I fell in love with a man and gave myself over to him immediately. I did what I always do. I trusted him before I truly knew him. I do it with everyone and everything. I'm just programmed to see the good in people. It's why I smile at everyone I meet. It's why I used to defend random strangers, customers and people on the TV. It's why I look at every situation as a new, objective one. It's why I thought he fell in love with me. It wasn't why though. I'm not entirely sure of all the reasons. Some of my characteristics he professes to love wouldn't exist without some of the ones he hates. And so maybe it is my fault. My inability to apply the correct attribute to the correct situation. It's happened a lot in my life, as has having a lot to say. I was asked to stop saying so much a long time ago now. In fact, I can remember 2 occasions where I have wanted to talk about something and he hasn't told me off. I don't even think he realises it's happening anymore. I don't believe he could tell you one thing that we've argued about before. I mean, what actually set it off. I say something he doesn't want to talk about. He tells me I'm going to shout, and then he winds himself up to the point where he starts shouting, and then eventually I shout back. It used to take a few minutes for me to start shouting. Most recently, it took a week. As soon as I shout back, he's confirmed that was what I had wanted all along, and 3 years down the line, he's still shouting the same insults and threatens to leave every single time. Doesn't matter what I've said, when I've said it, or how. If it makes him feel uncomfortable, he tells me off. Volume, speed, accent, face shape. Eventually, I'm frustrated to the point of shouting. Sometimes I shout because I'm exacerbated. Sometimes because I'm angry. Sometimes because I think it is the only thing that gets his attention. But most of the time, I haven't even realised I've been a bit too loud. But mark my words, if he's uncomfortable with the topic, there will be shouting, and my relationship will be thrown into the balance. All because I tried to say something and he either doesn't understand, isn't interested, or doesn't care. Why else do you tell your partner to stop talking halfway through a sentence? I wanted so much to be the antidote to the misery of his past, but alas, I am just not as effective as his one true love. I'm a real person after all. Not perfect by any means, but certainly not difficult to be with. I take on responsibility and I use initiative. I pour over the resources and I pour over all the resources I hold, and they are picked out and used. I feel used and abused. I have dedicated everything I am to our life together since day one. I have moved mountains to help you achieve your dreams, and I have never judged a single word you have said. I gave up my own business for you, and now I am sat here with nothing to show for it except an even deeper hatred of myself for thinking that my love was enough for you to be a better person. I've done it before. It's just I thought you wanted to be a better man. I thought you were a better man. I think deep down you are. I just can't go any deeper. I was asked to Google how to help someone with depression, and even though I have already read countless pages of advice, accounts, research papers, and I've even played a game where you pretend to be depressed to learn more empathy, every single one tells me the same thing: do not tolerate emotional abuse. I have absolutely everything to give, but to be insulted because I offer to help too much is abuse. I appreciate my methods can feel pressured and my discussions impassioned, but to be insulted for offering help time and time again is exhausting. Unfortunately, there have been so many arguments we have lost any ability to pull them apart, yet we still refer to them like they were planned events, destined for repetition. Regardless of how quietly I try to speak, there is nothing more for me to say. I do not want to argue. I do not want to be insulted. I do not want to shout. I do not want to be the woman you want me to be. I am me. I deserve respect. I deserve love. I deserve patience. I have all those things for myself, and because of that, I will be fine. And that is, an insight into what was going on in my mind right in the middle of, an abusive episode. I don't know what happened next. I don't know which row this was written in amongst. Looking at it, I've not dated it. I don't think I've ever read it again since I wrote it. I probably in my head thought I would go back to it, but so many times I wrote things that I thought I would go back to it and kind of ask him to read, and the few times that I did ask him to read stuff I written, that only provoked more abuse, really. So just an insight really into where I was at the time. I'm not in this place anymore. I have a lot more wisdom around this, and I find it really amazing that I have found this as I'm about to start my 1 year on social media series where I share my healing journey. So obviously this is a really good insight into where my mind was at just before I left. I should imagine it was quite late on in the relationship. I left 6 times in the 6 months before I finally escaped, and I think that this was probably around the 5th time, maybe even the last one, before I went back again and then finally escaped. So I hope that has helped somebody to realise that they're not alone in their thoughts and their experiences. So lots of love to you all, and I'll see you soon. Bye.